Hello and welcome to Called Bank Sports. Tonight, the Utah Jazz were able to defeat the Denver Nuggets by a final score of 115 to 109. And while the Jazz were shorthanded, frankly, not a lot to complain about considering how shorthanded the Denver Nuggets are. Obviously, they're missing Jamal Murray for the next few months and possibly the season, depending on his recovery there. And they're missing Porter Jr. for the rest of the season for sure. So that mixed with all of their COVID protocols, missing some key players there, and also not having Mike Malone, definitely made this game a game that the Jazz should win. Now, when the Jazz were missing not only Rudy Gobert, but also Hassan Whiteside, meaning, that we're going to have Doak play 16 minutes at center and the rest be played by Rudy Gay, definitely just not the ideal situation for the Jazz. And I even believe earlier this week, I was talking about how we've seen that Rudy Gay at center isn't necessarily a long-term solution for Utah. And they definitely did a better job with that tonight. And offensively, they had a great game. And rebounding-wise, which, is always my biggest concern with Rudy Gay playing center, they did a really good job and allowed a limited number of offensive rebounds, a really respectable number. And overall, this was a really good game for Utah. It was great to see them play through adversity and have to overcome some things. Had you told me, though, that the Jazz won tonight without having Donovan not even breaking 20, I believe he ended up having 17 points, at the end. But they were led by Bojan Bogdanovic, who had an absolutely stellar game. While he was only 1 of 6 from three, he was 11 of 14 from the field, and he was, let me make sure I've got this right, and he was 11 of 13 from the free throw line. And when I say 11 of 13 from the field, I mean inside the arc. So just to make sure what I meant to say is understood, which I think a lot of that has to do with Rudy Gobert not clogging up the paint on offense. Now, I definitely think when Gobert comes back, Gobert is going to clog up the paint. He's having a really good year offensively, averaging 15 points a game. And I don't think you're going to see nights like this typically from Bogdanovic, even if they tried to clear Gobert out a bit more. So Bojan, big role in tonight's game. And I mentioned Doak, who is one of 2 Jazz players in the negative. He was at -0, while Donovan Mitchell, he was at -8, not -0, while Donovan was at -1. So Doak, by far, had the worst game of the Jazz players, but we just really needed some bodies. And he filled that role along with Trent Forrest, adding some minutes. And even Eric Pascal, I heard, his son was born and he flew in for this game. So I really appreciate that. Not sure if that was originally in his plans. But the Jazz were really just trying to assemble a Frankenstein crew. When you're missing 3 of your 8 guys in Joe, Hassan, and Rudy Gobert. So great to see the Jazz fight through, have a first half where they were able to go to the half with the lead, but still struggled in that, but were able to extend that lead to the end of the third and then keep that through the fourth. Now, like I said, I feel bad for the Nuggets and I didn't expect them to win. Jokic had a pretty good game, 10 for 17 from the field in 37 minutes for 26 points. He had a total of 21 rebounds, so he was out there just grabbing all the boards. But when the next leading scorer on the team, you have Morris with 20, and you have Barton also with 20, and it just wasn't really enough. It is kind of shocking that they had 3 players in 20 with 20 plus, while the Jazz only had 1, and that was Bojan. But overall, being able to just get up more shots, the Jazz had 1 more shot, but more importantly, get up more threes. The Jazz took 5 more threes than the Nuggets and made 3 of them. So this is a game where even though the Jazz shot poorly from 3 at 14 of 41, being able to shoot those threes is what won them the game. They did also have help. They had 3 more free throw attempts and only made 1 more. But really looking at it, it's the fact that the Jazz did what they did best and got threes up. They didn't fall at the clip you'd want them to, with Bojan hitting 1 of 6 and Donovan hitting 1 of 9. But that mixed with the fact that they only allowed, let me make sure. They only allowed 6 offensive rebounds is really big for Utah. Like I said earlier, when Rudy Gay is on the court, the Jazz typically allow a lot of offensive rebounds and then struggle getting the ball in the hoop. So they were able to do a better job of getting the ball in the hoop with him on the court tonight. And when I say with him on the court, I mean specifically as center. Those are the stats that I have the best understanding of. So overall, great game for Utah tonight to pick up this win. I am personally terrified for the future, where Hassan is listed as questionable and has been. So hopefully it was a mild concussion and he can be back soon. And Joe is, again, hopefully going to be back in the week. But I don't think we've seen an NBA team who has had one player test positive and then no one else test positive. So I'm expecting to see the Jazz kind of fall into the same trap other teams have had, where they're going to be missing multiple starters. Games might even be postponed. And I don't want to see this happen. I really hope things are going well. But again, I believe Utah had their highest COVID case counts in a long time, if not ever, today. So there's definitely a surge going on here in Utah, and I'd imagine that's going to impact the Jazz. So these next few weeks are going to be really interesting. Thank you guys so much for watching. Had a lot of technical difficulties tonight, so hopefully this was a good show. This is like the 5th or 6th time I've tried to record it. If you could please leave a like, that would really mean the world to me. And if you can leave a comment and follow wherever you're at, we love to continue the conversation. So thanks again for watching, and go Jazz.